Hey, Peter Gregg, Miami, Florida. The new Canon 1DX Mark III. What is that all about? Welcome to the Christmas room.
Sit back, relax. You are about to watch a Peter Gregg video. Something warm, human, and wonderful happens when you watch Peter Gregg.
Welcome, everybody, to the Christmas room. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got some big news going on. We have Canon, the big boy on the block, that has actually delivered to us an amazing camera. One that crashes through that membrane that has been holding them back for so many years. You may have read something about the 1DX crashes. Well, the 1DX is not out yet. It's just been announced. So the camera hasn't crashed. It's Canon that has crashed right through this glass wall, this membrane of something that's been holding them back. But all of a sudden, boom, we get a camera that is totally amazing. Now, I've been watching from last night, of course, when it was released, and I was going to run in here, turn everything on, and make a video for you. But I decided, let me see how the dust settles. What do you mean? I'm not wearing a white t-shirt? We better white balance. I'm going to use the right white. This is a color balancing tool. It's made out of a polyurethane. It's waterproof. It's hard. I'm giving them away for free. I need to make this stay here while I'm talking, okay? Because in the computer, I'm going to use an eyedropper because I'm putting this next to my face. So this is the correct color white to do white balancing with, but it doesn't end there. You will have to retune, or fine-tune is a better word. Fine-tune is a better word inside when you get to the computer. So this is a reflective type tool. Got a fly in here. Hello, Mr. Fly. So, all right, so we white balance. So what is the 1DX Mark III about? You know, I didn't run in here and make a video last night because I stayed up to watch what was going on because I wanted to see how the dust was going to settle. And I'm watching the dust settle, and this is what I see across the lay of the land. I've been waiting all day to say that. The lay of the land. All right. So you've got the people that actually understand what the camera is about. And then you have those that are actually exposing themselves as fanboys. That would be a fanboy or somebody that's rooting for another team like Panasonic or maybe Sony. Or they're just basically want to hit Canon over the head with a crowbar every single chance they get. So is the camera, does it deserve that or not? Well, Canon has finally broken through that membrane. Like the title of this on the thumbnail says, the 1DX Mark III crashes. So that would probably be taken by a lot of people as negative. So that would become clickbait. Now, I don't want to do clickbait, but maybe I just did. Sorry. But the truth is, Canon has crashed right through that membrane that has kept the good stuff out of their DSLR and their the DSLM bodies, which are the camera style bodies, and kept everything over in the cinema side, in their Cine series. And that has caused us to pay the price. So it looks like something changed at Canon just a little while back when it came out with the completely mirrorless. And then the 90D was the really telling what was going on. So if you want to see like a video where I'm telling the specs or someone's telling the specs, I get a lot of very solid information from Chris and Jordan at DP Review. They are not fanboys of anything. They actually have experience, and they will tell you it has 20 megapixels, it'll shoot 20 frames per second, and all that's true. The A9 from Sony is the only other camera that I know of that shoots 20 frames per second in full RAW. This is for still pictures. So what you have with the 1DX Mark III is you have a clashing or a joining. It's not a clashing. Clashing would be a negative term. I want to pick a positive term. You have a joining of two very important and different type of uses for a camera. One would be still pictures, event photographers. I've been a wedding photographer since the 80s, 1980s. And so I was doing film. And then in the year 2000, we had a little jiggling around, and Nikon poked its head up and go, hey, we've got a digital camera. So the Nikon digital camera came on the scene right around 2000 area, a little earlier. And then Kodak came out with a really big camera. I think it was taller than me. It's huge. But Canon didn't. And people are going like, what happened to Canon? It's like they don't want to get into digital. So eventually Canon did unleash their very first professional camera. Let's not call it professional, digital camera, which is the D30. So I've been through the Nikon and the Canon equipment, and then little by little I added one Olympus camera, and then I got into Panasonic, and now what are you looking at? You're looking at the Sony A7 Mark III. I call it the A73. And the reason I'm using this camera is because it's giving me the best image of any camera that I can purchase within a reasonable price, okay? And the focus is excellent. I can turn around, I can walk over here, and the chances are really high that I could just set it and don't worry about it. I just turn the camera on and I hit the road running, which is what I want to do. So the 1DX Mark III is actually one of the first really significant major changes in the Canon company. They are giving us a DSLR style camera. Some people like the DSLR, some people don't like the DSLR. I happen to be one of those that likes the DSLR, not because I like that form factor better than anything else. It's because the DSLR will do things better than anything else for me. Maybe not for you, but for me. And that would be specifically the flash system, because shooting weddings and shooting events, parties, bar mitzvahs, grand openings of stores, all kinds of events where you've got people in some kind of a dim lighting where you can't control the light, so now you bring your own light. So the DSLR still is superior. I want to say far superior, but maybe you won't agree with me, than any mirrorless camera. There's no mirrorless camera that can match the DSLR in terms of flash photography. It'll come close, and there are many, many professional photographers that are shooting with mirrorless and flash, and they're doing it successfully. However, for me and my money, I want the full ratio or the full gamut of what the flash photography system is designed to do. And it seems like because you're actually focusing and the sensor's exposed to light all the time, they put coverings on it like infrared type coverings, and it doesn't allow the flash system, no matter what brand you're using actually, but their own brand to start with, to use that autofocus light. So that's one for the DSLR, which makes the 1DX Mark III a very impressive usable camera for events, weddings, of course sports, that's without question. But how many sports people are out there? It's just a handful that are actually covering the Dolphins games and all the other football games and the Olympics, and they're all grouped together at one time when you go to the Olympics, and that's it. That's your market, However, if you add wedding photographers, event photographers, high school seniors, and things like that, then you need a very capable camera that's able to shoot in many different conditions. Bingo, that's the 1DX Mark III right there. So for a stills camera, it's top of the line. They've redesigned even the focus system. I think that the DSLR cameras have two focusing systems in them, not one. One is for when you use the camera like you would normally use a DSLR. You would take it up to your eyes and you would look through the viewfinder, and it's focusing on a completely different sensor. That sensor is completely brand new in the 1DX Mark III. So that's the sensor is new that's doing the focusing for the DSLR part, not the mirrorless. What else is new is, remember I said I've climbed all the way up to the D800E, which is the one without the anti-alias filter. Canon has never removed the anti-alias filter. which automatically softens your pictures. However, it's supposed to step in and stop moire. Moire is the lines that appear on shirts. And you'll find very often that I wear shirts that have pinstripes. And I do that on purpose so that you can see the moire from the different cameras. And that's when the lines are too close to resolve and they become colors. So Canon has invented a brand new filter. So they still get to include that anti-alias filter for those that like the comfort of that. However, it actually reduces the amount of softness that it's adding to the picture. So there's a lot of little things going into a very professional camera. I've seen and heard where that camera gets dropped from the top of a ladder and it bams right onto a concrete floor and it takes a licking and keeps on ticking. Your lens might not survive, but the camera body will. So the people that are kind of like exposing themselves as fanboys and going like, I don't like this because of this and I don't like that because of that, I just have to chuckle because this camera is, Canon has done a really solid job. It's one of those things where you give them a high five where it's due, and it is due right there. Now, switching over to the video side, because I was doing the still side over here, so I'm doing the video side. So so I can do a conclusion for the stills camera. It's the best stills camera going, not only in regular optical view, which is through the viewfinder, but if you switch over to live view, you hold the camera up and you're watching it on the LCD. That's one of the things I can ding the 1DX Mark III for. Ding! Negative ding, not a positive one, is they didn't add a flippy screen. Now, the meeting probably went something like this. We need this camera to be so durable, we can drop it off a ladder, and it'll still work well. Well, chances are you can, but if you put the flippy screen on, and you're in some, like in the wild, in the desert, in the jungles, or whatever, you could break that off. So they probably went for safety over function. I would have preferred function over safety. Just like they solved that AA filter problem, they could make that flip out screen so that it actually snaps on and snaps off, or has like one screw. When you unscrew it, the cable that connects it is right there, so you're just unplugging it. So if you break it, you're gonna buy a new one. Stop dropping your camera off the ladder. That's all I can tell you. So on the still picture side, it is able to shoot now 20 frames per second raw, and because they put new cards in there, which are called CFast, and I think they're called CFast. Are they CFast or CExpress? It's the newest one. It's going to act like a little baby hard drive. So you're not going to hit a buffer. You can be shooting that bride as she's strolling down the aisle, stumbling over herself. Remember, what was that movie where she did that? 16 Candles, I think. So anyway, the picture side of the camera, you ain't getting any better. That's just where it is. Now, on the video side, Canon has unleashed all its power. So anything up to 30p, you get complete dual pixel autofocus. Anything over 30p, for instance 60p, 120p, you do lose the dual pixel autofocus. So you've got to know that they did create a dividing line. So if you need dual pixel autofocus in 4K, you use 30p or less, and you know, high definition. So that's what they've done there. They've added RAW, which you aren't going to use RAW. I am not going to use RAW. But they did add where it does 60p, which means I could put a 60p on a 24p timeline. So I'm playing around here with the Fuji X-T3, and it will do 4K in 60p. And I have another channel where I do cooking. And I never really paid attention to the slow motion that much. And my friend Justin from Baby Back Maniac, which is a YouTube channel, and I'm friends with the gentleman. We're good friends, actually. We speak on the phone and have a good time. He's very sensitive to the slow motion abilities of a camera and what the quality of the slow motion is. So the 1DX Mark III does slow motion up to 120 in high definition, obviously not 4K. You don't get the dual pixel autofocus, but you get the full frame, and it's actually more than the full frame. It's actually downsampled, so you're getting a higher quality slow motion. So I normally don't shoot slow motion, but when I'm doing my cooking stuff, Justin taught me to start using slow motion more and more because his channel is all about food. So my channel on Peter's Kitchen, I forgot what I was doing, but this morning I made a smoothie in my Vitamix, and I just recorded me pouring it into a glass in slow motion just for the fun of it. And it's like, darn, if slow motion isn't fun. So the camera does slow motion, 120 frames per second at a high quality is what I've seen and what I've been getting told. I like to watch Jordan on DP Review. The guy knows what he's talking about. He's not a fanboy. He gets right in there and tells you from his experience. So when I'm watching him, I'm usually watching something solid. And there's others out there that I watch also. So we've got the uncropped, not only uncropped, this camera right now is shooting from I believe a 6K, with the A73. I'm shooting with the Sony A73. It's shooting from a 6K. If it's not 6, it's 6.5. And then it's downsampling it to 4K. So the image is sharper because it's taking a bigger image and reducing it a little bit. So it's taking out the imperfections and making them look smaller. And at the same time, making my pictures, my video, look sharper. Well, hello, the 1DX Mark III now does that also. It's shooting at 5.5K and downsampling it to a 4K. And that gets recorded directly into the camera or comes out the HDMI port, which you can record to like what I'm doing now. I'm recording to the Atomos Ninja 5. Is that the number of that? Ninja 5? Yeah, that's the Atomos Ninja 5. So we can do that. So it's, and it shoots in all-eye for video, and it shoots for IPB for video, and it gives you that same choice at 120 frames per second in high definition. You can shoot 120 frames per second in all-eye, or you can shoot 120 frames per second in IPB. So you know which one's going to give you the better video, the all-eye. It's recording every single frame. So they've done away with the MJPEG, which was pretty much of a heavy weight around everybody's neck, or most people. There's some people that actually like it. So this camera is not only an amazing winner, it's hard to find things wrong with it, number one. There are some things that, let's say the Sony A9 will do a little bit better than the 1DX Mark III. But if I had a choice of the Sony colors, the Sony ecosystem, which is the menu system, the durability, the entire infrastructure for repairs, and I can compare the Sony A9 with the 1DX Mark III. The only difference that I would be choosing is the 1DX Mark III is a heavy camera compared to the A9. All right, that's it. Please subscribe. I want your subscription. I would love your subscription. And for those of you that are my subscribers, I love you guys. Tell me what you think. Make a comment, but don't expose yourself as a fanboy and a camera basher. Look at the 1DX Mark III for what it truly is. It truly is a camera that you can buy and hold for 5 more years and not get yourself outdated. Even if they come out with 6K and 8K, unless that would be particularly appealing to you, this camera is going to last a long time. All right, Peter Gregg, Miami, Florida. Catch you later. Bye. Whoosh.
You have just watched another Peter Gregg video. Something warm, human, and wonderful happens when you watch Peter Gregg. Thank you for watching. Description of all equipment used in this video, plus any notes Peter took while filming, are always placed in the description box, show more box, or down arrow thingy next to the title on mobile apps. Duly noted.